here at Goodrich High School. Good evening, high school basketball fans. And welcome to non-conference basketball action here tonight as the Fond du Lac Goodrich Cardinals play host to the Crusaders of Racine Lutheran. Good evening, I'm Dave Preston along with Mike Pfeiffer here to bring you all the play-by-play action here tonight of what should have been an exciting non-conference basketball game. As it turns out, 3 players due to tuition increases at Racine Lutheran have left the school and have transferred into Racine Case. Those 3 players just happen to be Division I and Division II prospects, and consequently Mike Christensen at Racine Lutheran left without a whole heck of a lot here tonight.
You know, Dave, I kind of wonder at Racine Lutheran if they're every other year raising the tuition and dropping it back down, because as you called it, as you talk to Dick Diener a little bit later, you'll see a revolving door, and that's certainly what it appears to be at Racine Lutheran. Last year, unfortunately for the Ledgers, it was the year that they had all those guys. Ledgers played in a state championship game. Eventually, Racine Lutheran wins Bristol Division II.
Well, they lost the 2 Collum kids. One of them had graduated anyway, but Ricky Collum should have been back, and so should have Scales. As a matter of fact, Mike Christensen telling me that he lost 3 starters because of the tuition increases. They really only have 1 returning player coming back off of last year's team. But meanwhile, the Fond du Lac Cardinals, Mike, and we're quite excited about this basketball team. A number of kids that have made some great improvements over the off-season, and I'm sure that's going to be very noticeable here tonight. Of course, Fond du Lac returning a couple of real fine players, number 1 being, of course, Drew Diener.
Well, Drew is their leader, and really does an outstanding job for them. But they've got a lot of talent on him. They're going to really have to use the ball.
And some fine people, and Andy Rose, who was a sophomore last year, and Casey Jekyll. Casey's going to see extensive playing time. Will start the game here, as a matter of fact, tonight. So will Rose. One player that impressed us in the scrimmage last week and has worked very hard and earned himself a starting position here tonight is Andy Wallin. And Andy Wallin, of course, one of the starters and was a second-team All-State football player, as a matter of fact, Mike. Just an outstanding athlete. He's going to carry that over to the basketball court tonight.
Well, of course, they're going to look for him to do a lot down low on the boards, and that's where they're going to need him the most, really use that bulk inside and to be able to work the boards very strong for Fond du Lac.
Well, as we said, only 1 returning player for the Racine Lutheran Crusaders, that being Robbie Savaglio. And Savaglio goes about 6'2". He's a junior. Really, the only person who did any scoring outside of Collum and Scales for them last year. The only player that has any experience on the varsity level whatsoever. Mike Christensen flat out tells me, hey, Dave, we're really not very good.
Well, they'll find out exactly how good they are tonight, facing a very strong Fond du Lac team, which expects to be strong again this year. They will be led, of course, by Drew Diener, the outstanding shooting guard. Last year averaged just under 18 points, right around 18 points a game. And the Cardinals will again count on his leadership. You know, he's been there for, this is his 3rd year being a junior this year, been to varsity all this time, and the Cardinals will expect an awful lot of him.
All righty, we had set up to go to a commercial break. I don't have the time to do that. Just a warning to you in the van bot. We got going just a little bit too late here tonight. And we do have a pregame show, a pregame chat, of course, with head coach Dick Diener. We'll bring you that right now. And welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to our pregame show here from the Redbird Arena. With me right now, head coach of the Cardinals, Dick Diener. And Dick, here we go once again. Looking for a 4th straight conference championship. Of course, it doesn't really start here tonight with the conference, but you get a good first look at the 1996-97 team.
Well, yeah, we do. Actually, it's the 5th straight.
Yeah,
okay. We got four in the books. Yeah, they're hard to win, so we want to make
sure. We don't want to take one away.
Yeah, we're looking for the 5th straight, and it's going to be very difficult. Our league is once again very strong. I think this year there's 5 teams that legitimately are shooting for a conference championship, and those would be Appleton East, Oshkosh North, Neenah, Kaukauna, and ourselves. A lot of kids back from last year, so you'll see a lot of the familiar faces that you saw last year. We've been looking okay so far this first week of practice. We had a scrimmage Saturday against Milwaukee Vincent, and Wausau West came up here. Very good turnout. I'm really happy with our fans. We had probably 500 or 600 people show up for that, and our kids played really hard and stayed with those clubs. They showed me a lot, and one of the big concerns I've had and still do have about this outfit is our ability to play defense and really make a commitment to want to excel on the defensive end of the floor. And if Saturday's any indication of what we're going to do, you know, I think we're in the right direction.
Break down that scrimmage just a little bit. Actually, I thought you looked a little better against Milwaukee-Vincent, who comes into the season as the #1 ranked team in the state, than you did against Wausau West. Wausau West, yeah, okay, played all right against them, but the big guys maybe gave us a little bit of trouble. We matched up, I think, a little better against your brother Tom's team, Milwaukee-Vincent, and I maybe came out a little bit pumped up because they have that #1 ranking. I thought played pretty well against them.
Well, I do too. I'd say there's always something about playing against better competition, and when the team has won the state tournament, you know, definitely you're going to be up and you want to be at your best. I thought we played well against Wausau as well, but I would agree that that night session, that half of basketball we played against Vincent was our best basketball of the day.
A couple of kids that I thought looked pretty decent for you. Defensively, it would have appeared to me as though Mike Koenigs might be one of your defensive leaders. I'll get your assessment there, but it appeared to me as though he's that Rocky Brown type of a defensive player, maybe a Zimmerman type of a defensive player, seems to pride himself on that role.
Well, we're really looking for someone to take on that responsibility, and yeah, Mike has really impressed the coaching staff with his ability to pressure the basketball and get after it. He's done that, you know, in every practice that we've had so far. We're really pleased with his progress and the way he's looked. And you're going to see him. He's not starting tonight, but you're going to see him play a lot of minutes, probably as much as most of our starters.
Another guy that impressed me was Andy Wallin. It looked as though he must have done a little work in the off season. Of course, he's a fine, outstanding athlete anyway. But was impressive, I thought, on the boards and what have you, and defensively.
Yeah, Andy has come along. He was putting those hoops in the other night, you know, which has been a problem for him at times in the past. But this summer, he got better and better at it. He spent a lot of time in the gym working on his inside moves and finishing. And, you know, he's not going to play any better competition what he was up against on Saturday. And he finished really nice, and he's real active. And Andy can be one hell of an offensive rebounder for us.
The player that probably looked as though he was maybe the most improved to me was Andy Rose. I thought played very nicely against both Wausau West and Milwaukee-Vincent.
Well, he's another kid that stood out in the first week or so of practices. He's really come out here with an aggressive attitude. And, you know, with his athleticism, if you really play hard and with the skills he has, you know, he can be a heck of a player.
The one thing I thought was nice to see from Drew, from your son Drew, we've always, of course, considered Drew to be a little bit of a spot shooter. He had a few favorite spots on the court. Nothing wrong with that, but it seemed as though he's picked up a few more spots and was moving from spot to spot quite nicely in that scrimmage and getting his shot.
Yeah, and the other thing I think you'll notice about him is he's a much more complete player. He's not as much as just a shooter. He can create a shot off the dribble, and he can score a lot of different ways. And I think he has the ability to take a game over at times if we're struggling.
Casey Jekyll also very much improved. He was a fine player at the end of last season, but he's taken everything, I think, all levels of his play just up one more notch.
Yeah, I would agree. And Casey's a real hard worker, spends a lot of time at improving himself, and he's shooting the ball better. His moves inside have become a little bit more solid. Defensively, he's anticipating better. He's jumping better. Athletically, he's improved himself in an off-season weight program that we have. So, yeah, I think he's ready to step up and show continued improvement.
Of course, every coach has to look for a floor general, Dick, and that was one position I don't think that you had to worry about, at least the starting spot coming into this season with Corey Higgins. And Corey, I think he likes that role, takes that role to heart, plays it very well. The one thing you were a little bit concerned about, I know, was that you didn't have a whole heck of a lot of backup in that position, and it looks as though you may have found one, maybe two.
Well, I think after what I've seen this first 8 or 9 days of practice, I think that'll be a position that we're going to have some nice depth and some nice versatility. I think with Mike Koenigs, who I talked about just a few minutes ago, and Corey, we're going to have two kids that can run the show, and each of them bring a little bit something different to the table. So I'm comfortable with that position right now.
Yeah, you had the same situation a little bit there last year, of course, with Derek as your starting point guard and Corey coming in and getting some good quality minutes. That was very important that he got those quality minutes last year, and he's ready to step into that leadership role here now.
You betcha. You know, he played some major minutes in some tough ball games in some championship contests, and you know, that kind of experience, there's no replacement for it. He's ready to go.
Team comes in here tonight, and Racine Lutheran, a team that may have shocked you a little bit last year. Of course, they're the defending Division II Wissaw champions. A very small school, but they have been known to have some good basketball. However, the door seems to be a revolving door down there, and you never know what I know that one of the Column kids has transferred out, apparently. Not as strong a team as we may have anticipated coming in here tonight.
Well, I think you're right on that. They were supposed to have Aziz Ward, a 6'7" kid who's a heck of a player, and the younger Column kid who's a heck of a player on their team. And both those kids transferred out to another Racine school, a public school. They have some new kids on their roster that must have come in from a public school, so you speak of a revolving door. I really don't know what to expect from them in terms of individual talent. We just have to be concerned with, you know, going out and building on what we've done so far and being able to play real solid, aggressive defense, rebound the basketball, and offensively get a good shot every time down the floor. That's what we'll be looking to do. They graduated. They had a heck of a team last year with those kids. They've gone on to play at major levels of basketball right now. So the one advantage they'll have over us is that they started practice 10 days before we did, and you know, early in the year like that makes a big difference.
Dick Diener, the head basketball coach of the Fond du Lac Goodrich Cardinals, and before I let you go, because I know you got to get going, how about the starting five for tonight's game?
We have actually 7 kids that we could pick 5 from tonight, and the 5 that we'll go with is Andy Rose, Andy Moline, Casey Jaco, Corey Higgins at the point, and Drew will be the 5, with Mike Koenigs and Danny Schrum being our other 2 top 7, and they'll be playing every bit as much as you know, the first 5.
Dick, thanks very much. Back with the starting lineups for Racine right after this on your Fond du Lac Cardinal basketball report. And we'll go down immediately here and pick up the starting lineups. They're introducing the non-starters right now.
Starters for the next ball game. Caruso, number 13, junior, Kevin Hayes.
Somewhat to be expected for the opening game of the season, mainly because it is also a holiday weekend and an awful lot of people traveling and whatnot. I guess I'm not that terribly disappointed at the crowd. It's really not a bad crowd. It's a typical crowd for a game that does not have a whole heck of a lot of hype, Mike, which expectedly, with a lot of people realizing that Column and Scales have left the school, this game would not give that much hype.
Well, of course not. And the big key, of course, is the fact that it is a holiday weekend, and Thanksgiving tomorrow. Happy holiday wishes, first of all, as we get rolling here to one and all.
And before we get underway, Mike, looking down the roster, of course, we have one freshman player for the Fond du Lac Cardinals. We have not mentioned him, and I don't know if we have a problem with that name or not.
We'll just call him Little Diener.
I was thinking that maybe we would have to call him something like Little Texas instead. So we might have our first nickname here. Instead of calling Dallas Diener Dallas, we may call him Little Texas. And Andy Rose goes up, wins the tap, and this basketball game underway as Corey Higgins will bring the basket. And we're just having some fun with that, folks. I'm really not that serious about that. Dallas is a fine name. I realize that, Jim. So, we just might call it Little Texas instead. Here's Wallin off of the baseline, cut off. They're out of the zone defense. And turns, goes hard to the hole. Reverse slam, no. Tap inside by Rose is good.
The Cardinals working the offensive glass early here. Get a pair of offensive boards. The second one finally goes down by Eddie Rose.
So quickly back up into the forecourt, the Racine Lutheran Crusaders, and a running one-hander at the hole by Eric Griffin would not drop. Whistle and a foul in the backcourt, and this one is going to be called on Savaglio. First personal there and the first team foul.
And Savaglio, the only player that had extensive playing time off last year's team for Racine Lutheran.
So here's Corey Higgins back up into the forecourt. Higgins works the left side sidewalk. That's the weak side right now. They'll swing it back out around the horn. Here's Casey Jekyll. The Jackal brings it back out to Drew Diener out hole high. Rose dipping inside. Goes to the hole, hit it. Andy Rose.
Rose coming out with 4 quick points to start out this basketball game. And I was expecting big things from him this year, Dave. I thought in limited playing time as the season wore on last year, he really came alive and became a real factor for this team.
I'll tell you something, Mike. Maybe one of the best things that happened to him was getting extensive playing time on that football team this year, because I think he's become a lot more physical basketball player. You'll see that as the game wears on. Very impressed with him in the scrimmage last week against both Wausau West and Milwaukee Vincent. Shot blocked by the Jekyll, and Casey comes up with the rebound. Outlet pass to Rose. Blocking foul.
Well, Rose also runs the court well. You can see the big man plays defensive position underneath and gets out into the wing area and is able to get down court quickly.
Well, that foul was called on Savaglio.
I would think, Dave, that this would be a team that would like to get out and run. Certainly has the athletic ability and quickness to do so.
And with not the extensive size there, Mike, I would tend to agree with you that they may want to do that. Good size, good all-around size. You're going 6'5", 6'5", 6'4", 6'4" up there in the starting lineup. But you don't have that 6'6", 6'7", 6'8" big man.
Right.
And of course the Joe Harmson type or a
Greg Fyvie of last year, right? Well, thus far with 6:25 to go, it's Rose 6 and Racine Lutheran nothing.
And we haven't even gotten Drew Diener started yet. That much,
yeah.
Right? Every crowd's got to have one, Mike. And we're glad he's over there. Fulton Bell III is into the basketball game as they come down, low to the block, and a shot there by Mike Christensen would knock it down. Drew Diener with the rebound.
Yeah, thus far on the board category, it's Bonalac 10. Racine Lutheran nothing.
Rose got the baseline, missed the shot.
They got one. Their first board of the basketball game.
And Nick Fick will bring it back up into the forecourt.
And that was the first. Excuse me, Dave. That was the first time Fond du Lac did not score going down court after they had put 21 points on the board.
And we have a foul. This one called on Andy Rose. His first personal, the first team foul. And let's see. Casey Jekyll, I didn't even know he was out. And here comes Little Texas for the first time in a varsity uniform for the Goodrich High Cardinals. Dallas Diener. He, I don't even know if he's over at Woodward or at Tyson, to be honest with you. I believe he's at Tyson. The ball bag free is picked up once again by Tekis, and he is fouled by Dan Schrum. Dan Schrum, certainly one of the top defenders on this Cardinal basketball team. And he picks up, however, his first personal foul. Tekis will go to the free throw line and shoot a pair. And not even close on the first one. So he will get one more. This one is on the way, good. Gotta be tough, Mike, if any of these players were involved with that Racine Lutheran team, to have been And Mike Koenig's up off the pines into the ball game here as well. Zone defense. Here's little Texas out of the coffin corner, would not go to the near side. And the rebound pulled down, tossed out ahead to Nick Fick, and he lost it out of bounds. It was tapped away by Dallas Diener. That's just such a hard name to say fondly, you know what I mean?
Around this part of the country.
Yes. And an air ball by Tekis, the rebound to the Jackal. Give it to Mike Koenigs in the backcourt, and he will bring it back up. Koenigs to Schrum. Cross court, they come to Diener out of the coffin corner. Bring it back out to Mike Koenigs. Little Texas, tray ball on the way. That would hit the back of the rim, then hit the top of the backboard. Rebound pulled down by Schrum, and he's fouled as he went back to the hole. They called this foul on Kevin Hagan. His first, the third team foul. Andy Moline will come out as Drew Diener comes back in. 2:50 remaining here in the first quarter of action. Your KFC score is Fond du Lac 21 and Racine Lutheran 3 as Dan Schrum will go to the free throw line to shoot a pair. And missed on the front half after Rose started off 2 for 2. I thought maybe we were turning the tide a bit, Mike, this free throw thing. Schrum missed them both. Pair. And the Lutheran lost it on the baseline out of bounds, and Fond du Lac will get it back. So Drew Diener will do the honors on the inbounds feed. Comes to Jekyll. Out to Koenig. Koenig's looping feed comes to Drew Diener. Drew D, they come up high, post to Schrum, splits it off to Dallas. And the back out here, Schrum at the high post, 15-footer there, would not go down. Cleared by Len Tekis. And the back up into the forecourt they go. Dave Welsh. Welsh to the right side sidewalk for Racine Lutheran. They look down low, the turnaround jump shot on the way there by John Talbert is good.
And a foul's going to go against Casey Jekyll.
Bucket by Talbert will be good.
Andy Rose to check back in for the Cards as Jekyll will exit.
His first personal, by the way, the first team foul. And Talbert cannot complete the three-point play, and the ball is chased down by Schrum and Mike Koenigs. Koenigs, Drew Diener, tray ball on the way, off the back of the rim, would not go down. Rebound, outlet pass, comes way up court here to Dave Welsh. Out of the coffin corner, they come back to Tekis. His shot short, rebound, Drew D. Outlet pass, Koenigs, up court, Schrum. Spins down to the lane, looks to go to the hole, dish off, feed to Rose, no. Tap is good by Andy.
Well, Andy Rose has the ability to just hang around that basket in the air. He's got the, once he gets up in the air, he kind of hangs around the rim, waits for that rebound. He's got about 4 or 5 offensive boards here already in the first quarter of action.
And 12 points to go along with that as Mike Koenigs picks up the hand-checking foul. He didn't hand-check. Maybe he did. Maybe he did. At any rate, the foul there on Mike Koenigs is first and the 4th team foul. You know, I can actually read the stat sheet.
New eyes?
No, new stat sheets. That's what was wrong. The other ones were too fuzzy. And they really were fuzzy. Wasn't my eyes at all. Ball tipped free in the lane here. Whistle, stoppage of play. They call a foul on Rose. If they did, I don't know what he did. That's what it is. Andy Rose with his second personal foul, and the signal there that he'll come out of the game. So Andy Moline is back up. And Rose will come out after an outstanding first quarter of action, but now saddled with 2 personal fouls. And Dick Diener's unwritten rule that you pick up a second, you sit down the rest of the half. Little Texas here with the rebound. Outlet pass. Mike Koenigs comes down. Drew D looking inside. Hook shot pass back out. Koenigs. Here's Strumman away. Trey ball there. Got it.
Well, good ball rotation. They had it to the near side and just rotated around the ring. Got the wide open three from the far side wing.
And the ball banked free by Mike Koenigs. Mike K back into the forecourt. Little Texas on the running one-hander.
Well, they can run the court. You can see that. Doing a good job of filling the lane. Even Diener, the young freshman, fills the far side lane and gets the easy layup.
Right side sidewalk here with the basketball is Dave Welch. Swinging back out around the horn. Left side working on the coffin car. Savaglio comes back out. Welch takes the free throw line extended jumper there. No. Kept out of bounds. Was touched last by Talbert. Andy Moline, the mallet there, hammering away. Well, I tell you, I was very impressed with Andy Moline and the way he went against the big guys the other night, especially the big guys from Wausau West. And they had some big boys, I tell you, Mike. And he worked right in there with them. In fact, had that been a real game, I think he would have been the key to a Cardinal victory in that one. Drew D, Trey ball, bang out!
Diener has got the touch. He's nothing but net. His fourth three-pointer here in the first quarter.
And the ball loose here. Eric Griffin picks it back up off the floor. Pulling up here now, Savaglio can't hit the shot. Cleared by the mallet. Leave it to the backcourt. Koenigs. And we're down to 10 seconds remaining here in the first quarter of action. Little Texas swinging around. Drew Dean, enter tray ball. Short off the front of the rim. Rebound, Schrum. And Schrum on the putback. Do you believe this? After 1 quarter of play here from the Goodershire, the Redbird Arena, it is Fond du Lac 33, Racine Lutheran 5. Back after this.
Travel here is going to be whistled against Griffin. Quick look at the first quarter stats, and probably not a finer quarter of basketball. You're going to see this team play all year, and that's tough to say early when it's the first quarter, but they were 13 for 25, 52%, 5 for 8 from three-point range. The Crusaders 2 for 13, only 15%. Dominate the board, 17-4. 3 turnovers for Racine Lutheran, and the Cardinals did not turn the ball over in the quarter.
And the Jackal with a turnaround jumper in the lane. He got it to go down. Casey now with his 4th point of the ball game, and it's 37-5. A 32-point lead. A foul back up court, I believe.
Andy Moline.
Is it not Moline? Yes, it is. Good Andy Mallet.
So you get me going now.
First team foul, or first personal there, the 5th team foul. Oop, sorry about that, 6th. And still a common foul, though. Racine Lutheran will inbound. And the ball tapped free. Loose basketball picked back up off the court, shot down by Savaglio. Savaglio with his first bucket of the game, 37-7. Koenigs to Higgins.
Well, you see them in a 1-2-2 zone at this point, and then sliding that down, taking it to a 3-2 to try to take those shooting lanes off the wings away.
And Brad Ranke, who came in at the start of the quarter, starts his season off pretty nice. Ranke there, knocking down the 17-footer for 2. Ball in the paint here, high off the glass, and good by Christensen. 39-9.
Few times that the Cardinals allowed a second chance opportunity. Christensen misses his first shot, but fouls it up and able to get the second chance.
That's one of the problems with a game like this, Mike. Your intensity defensively is going to start to dwindle, isn't it? And Casey Jekyll with a double pump off at a baseline got it to go. It's 41-9. Griffin works back up into the forecourt, got a pick out high. Now takes Higgins down the lane, leave it outside here. And the three-point shot by Kevin Hagan is good. Their first three-pointer of the basketball game. Might be their first three-point try.
Yes, it was.
Koenigs, Higgins. Here's Koenigs, back up between the 2 circles. Back to Corey, to the Jackal. Circle high to the right side. Coming around down low now. And with the shot is Ranke, can't hit that one. Outlet pass comes back out from Mike Christensen, back up court. Left side once again, Hagan feeling hot from the spot. Won't get it to go this time. And it's cleared by Corey Higgins. Up court, Reinke stepping inside the mallet, and they'll call him on travel.
And that is the first turnover of the game for the Fond du Lac Cardinals.
Well, let's see here now. We're going to get a host of new people into the ball game. Probably most notably Mike stepping on the court for the first time. 6'5", cornerback turned basketball player, and a dandy ball player he is as well as Ryan Blaine.
Safety, actually.
A safety, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're correct. And he rolls back in. Now, that's maybe a bit of a surprise, although Dick Diener probably figuring, hey, I'm going to play the guys while it's still a little bit of a ball game here. So Christensen comes to Hagan, left side sidewalk. They work down out of the coffin corner. Got it down low to Tekis. Shot rejected by Rose. And the rebound off to Ryan Blaine. Back up court comes Higgins. He pulls up. Here's Little Texas, left side sidewalk. Shot won't drop. Got his own rebound. High arch and rainbow jumper's good by Dallas. Dallas Diener with his second bucket of the game. And it's 43-12 with 4:10 remaining. Circle high to the right side. Mike Christensen swing between the two rings. They come off right side sidewalk. Going down to the baseline here is Christensen. Shot this shot, and did they call this one on roll?
I think it's going to be Dave. That would be his third if it is. And I would expect him to, yes, it is.
It is on Andy Rose.
I would
and
expect
Rose
it.
now certainly will come out for the rest of the half.
As Schrum's going to check back in.
No? Oh, okay. Dan Schrum will check in for him, but also up off the Pines into the ball game.
Jacob Brando.
Jake Brando.
That's the cornerback you were talking about.
Yeah, that's all season long too, Mike, between Brando and Blade. I was getting the two confused. I don't know why. See as how Jake Brando goes all of 5'9", and Ryan Blade up there 6'5".
6'5" is he now?
Yeah.
He's growing.
That's all right. He can keep right on doing that. Now a pair here from the line. Schrum, left side, popping out is Dallas Diener. Little Texas goes off left side here to Schrum. Dan Schrum taking it down to the baseline. They're running with Henry. Overlaid the home. And the rebound. Let's see, we're going to have a foul, I believe, on Brad Reinke.
Right, over the back.
That's what it'll be.
That should be yes, it will be a bonus situation. The Cardinals now in the penalty.
So we will go back to the other end of the court. So Christensen to the free throw line with a 1+1. And he missed the front half of that one, and Little Texas there with the rebound. Outlet pass, Jake Brando, left side sidewalk. Here's Reinke. Swing it back out to Ryan Blaine, Schrum. And now flip back out, Jake Brando to lean in. 17-18 footer there, would not go. And it is cleared out by Nick Fick. So Lutheran back up into the forecourt. Christensen, Hagan, Kevin Hagan coming down the lane, running with Hander, offensive foul. Kevin Hagan with the offensive foul, his second.
And then a wipe away the basket.
Who was the recipient there, Mike? That may have been a pretty good Academy Award job. Be that as it may, you call that good defense either way. And the basketball goes back to the Fond du Lac Cardinals on the offensive foul. Brando, Ryan Blaine, Reinke, Coffin corner, Little Texas, 3-point, no, not a 3-point, it's a 2-point bucket. 2-point bucket for Dallas Diener. No, I could have called him the Cowboy.
That wouldn't have done us any good.
No, that's right.
Things could be Brando here in the foul.
And you're absolutely correct on that, Michael Mann. Jake Bramno with his first personal foul. That'll be the 9th team.
If you look for a negative, first of all, let me remind you, today's game is brought to you by Helen Carpentry and Repair, providing quality remodeling and complete home repairs to the area for the past 16 years. Call 921-6493.
And Lutheran now, of course, in the double bonus, so Hagen not shooting a 1+1, he shoots a flat-out 2. And his second shot on the way good. He has 4 points on the night, and it's 45-15.
I say, if you look for a negative, that's probably the only thing they've done is committed maybe a few too many fouls, but they've been aggressive fouls. Good defense, really.
Well, now, I might tend to disagree with you there a little bit, Mike, because I think that the fouls have not been the case of necessarily aggressiveness. I think that's you start becoming a little bit complacent defensively when you're playing against a team that just can't compete with you. And the fouls actually might be from, for lack of a better word, from laziness defensively.
Well, see, I'm going to disagree with you now because I think that that would be the case maybe later in the ball game or in a game 5 games down the road or 10 games down the road. I don't think any of these kids it's the first competition of the year. They're all so psyched. They got the high level energy right now. A number of them first time they're getting on the court at the varsity level. I don't think that you would consider that to be, or I don't suspect that they'd be a lazy defense because of the higher energy level that they have right now.
Dan Schrum knocks down a pair, and it's 47-15. But you know what I mean.
Right.
You can stop working the feet a little bit.
Over and back here now.
Yeah.
The 6th turnover of the game. Fond du Lac still in this game. Only 1 turnover yet. Outstanding.
One thing to keep in mind there, Lutheran not pressuring the ball long. Well, now they've come out and pressured the basketball here on that inbounds pass at midcourt, and a traveling violation. Well, knock on wood.
Yeah, they're going to get Ryan Blaine for sliding that pivot foot.
Back up off the fines is Fulton Bell.
The third.
And he'll loop it back out across the timeline here to Dave Welch. And there's Ranke with his second personal foul. So this one is going to send Talbert to the free throw line to shoot a pair. And cannot get the first. 2:06 remaining here in the half. Fond du Lac's next game is next Tuesday night. They go on the road to Milwaukee Hamilton. And then come back home, Mike, a week from Friday night with a very key, very first conference game of the year. I wouldn't necessarily call it a must-win, but here's a little Texas off of the baseline with that 17-footer would not go down. Reinke all over the top of Bell.
Double technical foul here.
We got a double T?
Yep.
Blaine gets the technical. Of course, that also counts as a personal.
So we go back and see exactly what happened.
Wait a minute. Who did they call that out for Lutheran there, Mike?
15 would be seconds.
Well, you could see them. I don't know if they really did enough there to warrant a technical. Well, this now becomes a possession thing.
Well, I think that's what they're talking about right now.
Or are they actually going to shoot?
No, they won't. This is a new rule change this year. You do not, when it's a double technical, you do not shoot it. You just go on alternate possession.
So Fond du Lac will get the basketball back. And let's see, did Blaine come out? I believe he did. Yes. Schrum, near side, Brando. Backdoor cut there by Drew Diener, could not hit the shot. And the rebound pulled away by John Talbert. Talbert back up into the forecourt is Nick Fick. And Drew D there almost with the steal. Now whistle stoppage of play. They'll call the jump ball, and the possession will go back to the Racine Lutheran Crusaders. So they loop it back in here to Dave Welch. Welch swinging between the two rings, and here comes Nick Fick running with Hander down the lane. No, Drew D with the rebound. Drew on the dribble as he comes back, and they're going to call for Palm in the ball.
Third turnover of the game for Fond du Lac. 1:07 to go in the first half of action. It's been all Cardinals tonight, 47-16.
Although I don't believe, Mike, we've actually scored in the last few minutes. And as a matter of fact, we have what now? After scoring 33 points in the first quarter, we have about 14 here in the second. Jake Brando, tray ball on the way. Drew D caught. That is his fifth tray of the first half. And Jake Brando just ran into the pick there from Rob Savaglio.
Yeah, that's a situation where you need help from your backside defense to let you know that pick is coming. And you're focused in defensively on your man, and when that pick steps in front of you, you got to get some help, let you know it's there.
So Brando there with the personal foul. 50-16. And Savaglio will go to the free throw line. He's going to get a pair.
Missed the front end of it.
Second one is banged down by Savaglio. 50-17. 33-point lead by the Fond du Lac Cards.
Wonder if Fond du Lac's going to maybe look for one here. It looks like they're spreading the floor a little bit. 20 seconds left.
Here's Drew Diener, Jake Brando, Reinke swing it down, Little Texas off the left side. Schrum back hole high. Drew D going to set up the spot up for the three and hit it. Sixth three-pointer of the first half. 53-17. Shot on the way, and the buzzer by Robbie Savaglio is no good. And that'll be the end of the first half of action.
Well, Fond du Lac again with a pretty strong second quarter, scoring another 20 points after scoring 33 in the first quarter of action, have totally dominated the Racine Lutheran Crusaders thus far. And as you head into halftime, I don't know exactly what it is that you can be talking about other than to try to stay consistent and keep the intensity level up at this point.
Now I'm on the air. My partner just walked away from me because I tried to get cutesy and get the cheese head on him. So he's standing about 10 feet down the line. There we go. This, of course, the Wisconsin symbol of the Wisconsin sports fan, the cheese head. You're absolutely, hello, absolutely sure you don't want to take this with you? He's not even going to listen to me. Won't take it. Nancy will take it with her on Sunday. No way. It makes a real nice seat cushion. But actually, folks, this is messing up my hair. It should have looked more like this, a good old piece, good old string of Bakers. As we start the second half of action here back at the Redbird Arena, Dave Preston along with Mike Piper for you. Drew Diener. Let's go on another tray ball. Leading all scorers in the first half. Let's take a look at that very quickly. Drew Diener had 18 at halftime, and Andy Rose had 12, and Dan Schrum was 7. Leader for Racine Lutheran was Mike Christensen with 4, but Drew Diener now obviously up to 21. And keep in mind here, Andy Rose playing with 3 personal fouls as we start the second half. And Racine Lutheran back up into the forecourt. And Hagan, shot tipped out there, touched either by the Jackal or Andy Rose. See, now, I don't understand why you won't put the cheese hat thing on, you know. You got that plastic here and stuff that kind of bounces right back. Me, look at this.
Whatever.
I ruined his whole Rose, outlet pass. Here's the Jackal coming down the lane, and Casey with the pull-up jumper, and he's got his 8th of the night. 58-17. Well, what do we talk about this second half? The ball bank 3 here down low, Drew Diener. I'm sure we're going to see a ton of reserves before very long. And Casey Jekyll, rebound off to Drew Diener, and he is fouled by Christensen. Christensen with his first personal foul, the first team foul.
The team foul, 35.
What a difference a year can make as, of course, Mike, this team upset the Fond du Lac Cardinals. I don't know if you call that an upset or not there last year.
Well, probably at the time we thought it was, but as the season wore on and we saw exactly what kind of talent Racine Lutheran had, not as much as you might have suspected, probably.
So Drew Diener to the front throw line, his first trip to the line tonight, bangs down the first. So, you got tickets on Sunday, huh?
Yep.
Are those tougher to get now with the Milwaukee group in there, or?
There's any ticket in Green Bay's tough right now, but
very true.
well, you know, it's 2 different ticket holders. It's Milwaukee and it's Green Bay.
Right. But I mean, we've had
the
pretty good ins there with the
Green Bay, right? The Milwaukee ones I've just been fortunate to pick up.
What's the going rate for a Bears?
Scalp market?
Yeah.
I've seen as much as 300.
Oh, really? And to think I could have had 4 of them for $100 a piece here the other day. Down to the baseline, turn around. I should have bought them and gone back up and sold them, right?
Oh.
You wouldn't do that, right?
I wouldn't do that.
No, well, Higgins. What do you mean? You were about to that San Francisco game. I remember you talking about that.
Jokingly, of course.
Now he says that, Nancy. Yeah. It was your ticket, too. And shot on the way from the head of the key there by Higgins would not drop. Lutheran, they threw it away. And play deteriorating a bit as game pretty well salted away here, of course, for the Fond du Lac Cardinals, and we're not even midway to the midway point of the third quarter.
I think it's pretty much salted away about 4 minutes into it.
Yeah, in the first quarter already, you're right. Higgins, Drew D. Drew, and it's going to be interesting. You know, Mike, we were talking in the pregame with, and they throw it away down here on the baseline, talking with Dick Diener. And the one thing that I've noticed about Drew, and I always considered him to be a spot shooter. He had a few of those favorite spots. But does not appear to be that type of a spot shooter anymore. He spots up just about all over the court now.
But he also can seem to get shots up easier than he did in the past. Of course, you know, keep in mind, we saw him as a freshman, and it's not easy to come in and play varsity ball as a freshman.
I mean, also as a sophomore.
Also a sophomore, but usually he'd like to get to a spot, as you talk about, and have a clear look at it. But now he can shoot the guy in his face or falling forward or sidewards or whatever.
Well, this foul on the mallet. Andy Moline with his second personal, that is the first team foul. And it sends Mike Christensen to the free throw line. He is 2 for 3. Bangs down the first. So Nancy making the turkey tomorrow, or?
Nope, Mom's making the turkey tomorrow.
Oh, jeez. Now wait a minute. You're supposed to make the wife do that, you know. Christensen with a pair. You gotta let Mom off once in a while.
Christmas.
Oh, okay. Schrum down left side sidewalk, pop it back out. Here's Rose. Run to the right side. Casey Jekyll, the Jackal there, pops up with a fall away 12-footer, won't drop. And cleared by John Talbert. Back up court they come, and Nick Pick off of the coffin corner, out of bounds, touched last there by Christensen. So what's your feelings on this game? This Bears team been playing...
They've been playing much better, but I think the fact that you're playing in Green Bay is worth a good 10 points. And they're just happy to be home again. It's been a long road trip for them. Being able to finish 3 out of 4 in Green Bay is certainly going to be to their benefit.
Outside here is Schrum leaning in with a 3-point try, and this one is good. Dan Schrum, his second tray ball of the game. He has 10 on the night. Higgins, Dog, and Griffin out high. Coming in off of the baseline with a running one-hander is Brad Weber, no, but a foul down underneath the hole.
Casey Jacobs going to get it from body action down low, bumping into Brad Weber.
His second.
4:20 left here in the third quarter from the Redbird Arena. Your KFC score is Fond du Lac 63, Racine Lutheran 19. Today's game is brought to you by Call Insurance of Fond du Lac, your independent insurance agent. Whether your needs are auto, life, home, or health, Bob Call can help. Because he works for himself, he works harder for you. Give Bob a call at 923-4020.
Weber missing on the first, his second shot on the way and good. 63-20. The thing that kind of bothers me, Mike, is that, of course, the Bears have all season long have played pretty solid defense. And offensively, they can look pretty poor. They have to rely on, and a nice running leaner here by Drew Diener is good. They've had to rely on all kinds of trickery, of course, here to come up with wins. That can kind of bother you because I guess that's one thing that the Packers are going to have to be ready for on Sunday.
Well, they're going to pull out the bag of tricks. There's no doubt about that. That's always been very good at doing that kind of thing.
Schrum, nice ball rotation here. Schrum off of the low block with a turnaround jumper, and he banged it down. His 12th. Running one-hander off the back of the rim here by Griffin, no good. Here comes Mike Koenigs, quickly back up into the forecourt, leaves it off for the tackle, and he laid it down.
Good movement off transition basketball once again for the Cardinals. Jacob getting to the left side wing, and just a good job of penetration once he gets the ball.
Griffin, left side. Worked it here to Christensen. Here's Savaglio. Offensive foul. He threw an elbow there to Casey Jacob. Savaglio with his third personal. But as I said before, the Bears, through the course of the season, played pretty solid defense. Whether the Packer offense got back on track in the second half of that game or not against the Rams,
well, it
remains to be seen.
Yeah, made a few strides, but the Packers are starting to get a little healthier. They're going to have Antonio Freeman back Sunday, which is going to really help a lot, I think, just emotionally. If he gets past this one, then the following week you should have Mark Chimera back.
Should get Chewy back, right. And they'll need him against Denver.
Yes, they will.
And Mike Koenigs lost the handle on the basketball, taken away by Griffin. Now tip free and out of bounds by Reinke. Brad Reinke, a 6'3" junior, trying to crash in there. Dave Welsh. They leave it out for Len Tickus, and he missed on the puppy on the bank jumper. Left side, spotting up Little Texas, can't hit it. Shot tipped back out by Moline, but it comes off into the hands of Griffin, running the length of the floor, and Koenigs will get the foul. Griffin with the bucket.
One of the few times that the Crusaders have been able to bust out and get some transition of their own, and largely due to the fact that Fond du Lac has shot the ball that well and rebounded so well that they haven't had much chance to get out and run.
Griffin will go to the line to try to complete the three-point play.
The key to that whole play is he does complete the three-pointer was his ability to switch the ball, cross over, and take it up with his left hand because he had his body to shield the ball, and as Koenigs came across to try to block it, he got the body. That's why basketball players have to be able to use both hands.
We'll remind you that throughout the course of the game, of course, you see the KFC symbol down on the bottom of our scoreboard, and that's because KFC bringing you our scoreboards here throughout the course of the season. And, of course, you can take the hassle out of mealtime with KFC, and if we don't put the graphic up, I'm going to forget you got it here, don't you? Call KFC at 921-5440. Take the hassle out of mealtime with KFC to home delivery now. Ball banged away here, picked up by Fulton. He's fouled as he went to the hole. Is this one going to be on Koenigs or on Rose?
Might be on Koenigs.
And it is.
And as Dave said, KFC now features home delivery, so you can take the hassle out of all mealtime with KFC, and especially for those Packer games, it works great. Those Packer parties, and just give them a call and meals ready for you at halftime.
However, don't call them and expect that they will deliver to Lambeau Field at the Bears game.
They won't.
I don't think that goes along with that.
Got to take it along with me, huh?
I think that's the way that works. I'm relatively certain. Although they do cater. Here, we want catering service for 4, right?
Yeah, that'd be maybe beyond a Call of Duty, huh?
Yeah. Little Texas, round to the right side. Dallas Steiner leaves it off here now from Mike Koenigs. 1:35 remaining here in the third. Reinke comes to Rose. It is 89-26.
No, that's not right. 69, isn't it? 69 to 20.
You're right. I couldn't read either scoreboard here. Koenigs, 69-26, absolutely correct. Reinke, outside, shot it away. No, Savaglio there with the loose ball. Back up into the forecourt. Fulton, Bell. Kind of flashing through. They got it down low underneath to Tegas and could not hit the shot. Lead feed back up court. There's a blocking foul on Bell. Now, who's going to win that one tomorrow between Washington and Dallas?
I think Dallas will at home. Thanksgiving Day is always tough to beat them. You got a short week, and
they're mad.
And they're mad, and they're at home. You know, you take a travel day away also.
Reinke shot good, and if we got a foul on Moline.
You're right, a shove underneath the basket, trying to go for rebound position. So count the basket, give Andy Moline one foul, and they'll inbound the ball.
72-26. Griffin back into the forecourt, had it tipped away there, and
bounces on the line, and it'll go back to Fond du Lac.
I think Koenigs may have taken. Did he take a shot to the nose, or did heads collide there? And the way Griffin is kind of rubbing his forehead, I think the two of them banged heads is what happened. Now, are they going to take Koenigs out? It would appear so, yeah. Corey Higgins will come back in. Mike Koenigs, well, I'll tell you, Mike, and we've seen it from him tonight, really in-your-face defense.
Yeah. Well, he's a competitor.
Oh, yeah.
He's an athlete.
Oh, yeah. And here comes the general. Higgins, Little Texas, God, by Dallas Steiner. He connects on a tray ball, his 9th point of the game. 17 seconds here in the quarter, flashing through as Tekas missed the shot short off the baseline. The mallet clears it. Andy Moline. Leave it here for Higgins. Lead feed stolen away by Griffin. He's going to be able to get a shot away. 12-4 on the right side. He airballed it out of bounds, and that'll do it here on the third quarter of action anyway. Our score after 3. Fond du Lac 75. Racine Lutheran 26. Your KFC score. Mike and I'll be back after this in your Fond du Lac Cardinal basketball report.
The headquarters for Packer stuff this year. Team Sports has those ever-popular letter jackets for your favorite area school in stock. Team Sports in downtown Fond du Lac, across from Veterans Park. Len's Sales, Service, and Leasing is where nice cars are sold, serviced, and leased. Plus, Jerry features complete auto care service, towing, and body work. That's Jerry Len's Sales and Service.
Fond du Lac Schwinn Cyclery features a full line of Trek and Schwinn bikes and biker gear to match. See their selection of exercise equipment at Fond du Lac Schwinn Cyclery, the place for the serious biker at 209 South Main.
Back here at the Redbird Arena, where the crowd has begun to thin out slightly here following that third quarter.
This is nothing. You should have been in St. Louis over the weekend. 12 minutes
thin out big time?
12 minutes left in the game, and the place was less than half full.
That's right. You were down there. That what was that? That big old dome.
The dome, the Trans World Dome.
Yeah.
It's a nice place.
I have to say, I've never viewed a football game inside of a dome. I don't know.
It's much better than Metrodome, let me tell you that.
Yeah.
Much, much better. I've been in there, I've been to Metrodome, we've been at the New Orleans, the Superdome. That was not too bad either. Very nice facility though, Trans World Dome, but the fans don't stick around when their team is losing.
And it was funny, Mike, because while they were winning, they weren't very noisy either. The rebound was pulled back down by Dave Welsh, and he missed the bunny. He missed a pair of free throws and missed the tip shot as well. Higgins, check that, Dallas Diener. Here's Higgins. Corey Higgins yo-yos the dribble. Now Triggy dribbles the thing. He swings it around into the right side, shut in the way there by Reinke. Rainbow jumper's gone. Brad Reinke with his 4th point of the basketball game. And Griffin will bring it back up, 77-26. Savalio. Here's Fulton Bell, shot rejected by Little Texas. And the outlet pass from Higgins comes up court. They tried to come there from Ryan Blaine back to Dallas. And the ball went off his fingertips and out of bounds.
Maybe one too many passes there.
And a host of new players in for the Crusaders.
Well, when head coach Jeff Christensen told you that they really didn't have too much, he wasn't good.
Yeah, he said, not only did he say that, Mike, he said flat out, we're not very good. Christensen, and he wasn't kidding about that either, was he? Left side sidewalk, shot in the way there from Hagan, would not drop.
And he knows what good is. What a way to go from last year to this year coaching, huh?
Wow, huh?
In 1 year.
And you walk off of that court down there in Milwaukee thinking, wow, I've got 2 pretty good ball players coming back and a 3rd starter that ain't too shabby either. Only to find out midsummer that they're transferring to Racine Case. But tuition, I guess, was the amount of tuition was, or there was a tuition increase apparently at Racine Lutheran. It's kind of what caused it. On the baseline here, low right, John Talbert cannot hit the shot. Bang free by Ryan Blaine, but picked up once again by Hagan, and now foul there going to be on Dallas Diener. Little Texas picks up here his first personal foul. And that'll be the 16th foul. I would agree with you. I see Dallas, I'm talking about the Cowboys now, not Dallas Diener. That's why we call him Little Texas. At least you can tell the difference, right? Dallas would probably beat Washington, and that in all reality, you probably want that to happen. I've heard an awful lot of people talking like, wow, wouldn't it be great if Dallas would lose 2 more and they'd be out of the playoffs in all possibility. Heck, we want them in the playoffs. We want them up here in Green Bay.
Yep, I think everybody does.
Well, you'd be surprised at the number of people who like to see them lose, too, and not be there.
If you can't beat them in Green Bay, you don't deserve to be there.
Yeah, that's true. I'd rather face them anyway than Washington, who's used to playing in the cold and on grass. Cold grass at that. Moline, the mallet underneath.
in the feet, he lays it down. Andy Moline with his 4th point of the basketball game. 79-27, 5:39 remaining. Looping feed near side, they pop it back out. Here's Hagan. Takes it off high post, puts it off there to Christensen. Lean-in shot, no foul. His shot got the rebound. Glassed it, that was it. Rebound pulled down once again in the paint by Brad Weber, and he put it back.
First field goal of the quarter for the Crusaders after 7 attempts.
And we got lazy on the defensive boards that time, just simply did not box out.
Well, this is the part of the game now you're going to expect that to happen.
Yeah, where you can pick up some bad habits, real bad. Ryan Blaine to the left side sidewalk. And the Cards have, although they do have, let's see, do we have any starters in there right now? No. Jake Brando, I take that back. Andy Moline is here. And now we'll get a few new people in. Nate Stoiks, 5'8" seniors into the ball game. Who else just came in there, Mike? I missed one guy here. Here we go, Steve Falk. 6-foot junior into the ball game. Cardinals in a zone here. And sliding high to low and getting the basketball is John Talbert. He laid it down.
Good touch pass. Talbert going right to the glass.
Jake Brando looking for some Dick Diener direction. Gets it. Nate Stoiks with a tray ball, no. Reike had the rebound. And he is fouled. Well, I got to look up at the scoreboard here. They got that right. They
the other way around.
Kevin.
Not the Cardinals.
Okay.
Manowski Welding of Fond du Lac for custom fabrication of structural or ornamental steel. Manowski is your stop. And see Manowski for your fire protection needs from the industrial to the homeowner. Manowski Welding is at 200 North Main.
Christensen missed the one and only he was going to get, and Nate Stoiks with the rebound. Outlet pass to Jake Brando. Sliding across, here's Falk. His shot blocked, but they will call the foul. Steve Falk is going to go to the free throw line.
I think Weber is going to have the foul.
And I do believe that you are right. Absolutely. That's only their 4th team foul. That's one thing Racine Lutheran has not done, Mike. And I don't know if that's a sign that they haven't been that aggressive or what, but I got it for what? About 8 or 9 team fouls here as a whole for the game.
I think for the most part, they haven't been able to play in the same elevation that Fond du Lac has. They're kind of all low up above the...
Are you talking the air up there kind of thing?
Yep. Where the ball is, that's where you've got to be, and they just can't play the same field, really.
Coffin corner right side, Nick Fick. Here's Hagan. Throws the elbow there. Shot. Ball going to be tipped out of bounds. It will go back to the Crusaders. Well, this basketball game, quite frankly, just about everything I figured it was going to be coming in here.
Well, I didn't, frankly, think of that.
Well, I looked at it from a standpoint that you knew full well that they had lost their big three and had not picked up anything to replace that. They were supposed to have a 6'7" kid, and I got word this morning that he was not on the roster, so you wondered what the heck they did have. Trey, ball out of the Coffin corner there is good.
Well, they've hit their last 4 field goal attempts now, coming back to show a little bit of offense down here, down the stretch.
Another new player in the ball game here for the Fond du Lac Cardinals is Jerome Allen, 5'10" junior. Off of the baseline, shot by Ryan Blaine will not drop. 3:17 to go. And Kevin Hagan here with the running one-hander.
And right here, Dick Diener wants a timeout, and he's not real happy with his defense here down the stretch. And you know, even when you're winning by a large margin, you still have to continue to coach.
Well, I think in all reality, Mike, he really felt he probably should have held this team under 40. That may not be easy anymore. 3:04 remaining, 81-38 your KFC score. Back after this. The Clinic of Orthopedic Surgery has a board of certified surgeons to help you. So whether a condition exists for weekend voyeurism, work, or from around the house, the doctors at the Clinic of Orthopedic Surgery can help.
Before you head to the rink this season, you have to stop first at the Sports Shop 2 or the Penalty Box. They both have a full line of our CCM and Mega gear, and a new line of figure skates from Rydell to Lake Placid. That's the Sports Shop 2 and the Penalty Box.
Trail 4 remaining. And, well, we kind of alluded to that idea there a little earlier in the basketball game, Mike, that one of the first things that goes is your intensity on defense when you get into a ball game of this kind of nature.
Well, that's the area that's the easiest to get lazy. You know, offensively, you have a tendency to play a little better because everybody likes stats and numbers and scoring and all that good stuff that goes with it.
Right. Now, the other question, of course, in the world of pro football, are we going to find somebody that's going to be able to knock off the San Francisco 49ers and give us a little bit of a cushion there? Shot here by Hagan, a tray ball, no. Rebound blocked by Ryan Blaine.
Just taken right away, a little pickpocket action.
And Brando, lead feet out ahead to Steve Falk, and he laid it down.
So we're going to have a foul after the fact. I think it's going to go against Nate Stoics. Yep, they're called Stoics as he is going to try to rebound for crashing in a little heavily. Somewhat of a, I think probably a better no call. Let's get another look at it again here. I don't think there was too much action here. Stoics. Well, maybe coming down out of the back, I guess.
Still a pretty tough call at this point in time, anyway, in light of the fact that when you look up at the scoreboard. Of course, if you are Racine Lutheran, Mike, you came into this quarter more than likely, and Coach Christensen, I would imagine, setting a goal for his team and saying, hey, you know, let's go out and hit the 40 or 45 point mark. That's what we're going to play against.
Well, that's kind of what I'm sure what they had to do at halftime, or evaluate what their goal of the game was. They weren't going to win it anymore at that point, and try to set some type of a goal.
Ball popped out high to Allen. Now they got it down low here to Falk, and he turns and goes to the hoop. He overlaid the hoop.
Nice pass by Brando as he went into the paint, got the hook pass.
And it's stolen away here by Jake Brando. Brando going to take this one on his own, coast to coast, and laid it down. I think what the Cardinal bench on that earlier miss was not happy. And you would, of course, have to think that they probably wanted to hit the century mark, which I'm sure was not any kind of a big concern for Dick Diener. But when you're a high school player, that does the opportunity to do that doesn't happen real often. It's not going to happen here tonight.
What happened there doesn't happen real often when the ball gets wedged between the rim and the backboard.
You might see that occasionally in warm-ups when you got a lot of balls hammering up there. 8 Stoics, minute and a half to go. And Griffin here with a foul. Did I ever finish, we were discussing earlier the...
Hold the thought for a second here. I'm going to tell you that today's game is brought to you by Fond du Lac Mosaic Tile Company for ceramic and quarry tile, slated marble. All installed by our professional craftsmen since 1948. That's the Fond du Lac Mosaic Tile Company at 922-2910.
Ryan Blaine knocks down his first bucket of the game. 107 remain. Did we ever finish? I started to discuss that the Cardinals conference opener was coming up a week from Friday. We'll be here for that. That's against Kakwana. And Stoics here with the tray ball. How unlikely, Mike, that, and maybe a little bit unfortunate, that you're looking right there at a certain conference contender, and it comes, your home game against them is the first conference game of the year. Not a must-win, of course, but I'll tell you, you don't want to have to go to their place if you would lose to them here. You got to beat them on your home court.
Well, you know, that's very true, Dave. And Coach Diener talked about some of the parity in this conference this year. And as many teams as could contend, you really got to win at home. I think it's important that you win those games.
And that's going to be a big one right off the bat. And I'll tell you, folks, if you're out there, you got to get to that game because the Cardinals are going to need some fan support for that one. And I know, you know, that it's just not the big rivalry like you have with the Appleton East
right.
and
Oshkosh North.
Oshkosh North, of course, a huge rivalry within the Fox Valley Association between them and Fond du Lac. But Kakona has taken the game of basketball to the next level. They really threatened the Fond du Lac Cardinals on their home court last year, if you remember. Well, they've got all those people back. And Allen with the turnaround jumper on the baseline, and that'll do it. The final score here this evening from the Redbird Arena, the Fond du Lac Cardinals 92 and Racine Lutheran 43. Mike and I'll be back to wrap it for you right after this on your Fond du Lac Cardinal basketball report. From about 4 minutes into this game, it was already decided who was going to win this thing. I'm not so sure that Racine Lutheran didn't come in here feeling that they had already lost before they even took the floor. What do we have? A 53-7 game at halftime. It was 33 to, they were in 33 to 5 after 1 quarter of play.
All right, one time we were at 21 to 2.
21 to 2, right.
So it was over early, and yeah, I don't know, Dave, what their feeling was when they came into the game, but Fond du Lac told them what the story was going to be very early, got off and running, and I thought Fond du Lac did a lot of good things tonight. The transition was very good, especially on the offensive side. Did a nice job of filling lanes, and they played a lot of different people tonight. And when you can go 7, 8, 9, 10 deep and still really not lose too much of a drop-off, you're doing a pretty good job, and certainly a lot of people contributed in this basketball game tonight.
If there were some drawbacks and things that maybe Dick Diener would not be happy about, he had expressed a little concern that defensively he didn't like the toughness of this team coming into the season to start with. They played tough defensively in the first quarter, and then things really started to sag from that point on, as reiterated by the number of fouls that we had in this basketball game. Fond du Lac really probably with way too many fouls committed by the Fond du Lac Cardinals, and that to me, a lack of keeping up the intensity defensively. That's when you're going to pick up some of these cheap fouls, cheap calls.
Well, you really do, and it wears down in a big hurry when you get a big lead like that. But you know, Fond du Lac has got to feel, I would think, pretty good about a lot of things, but you've got to keep it in perspective. I don't think this is a very good game to use, a barometer of a game to use, because let's be frank about it, this was not a very good team we saw tonight.
Certainly not.
And yes, there's reason to be excited about this team because it has a lot of talent. But you've got to see them against a better opponent before we really know exactly where they are.
Get the yardstick out.
Yeah. Exactly, because this was not a good basketball team. I would hazard to say our JVs probably would have beat these guys tonight.
I wouldn't even hesitate. They certainly would have given them a run for their money, no doubt about that. Some good floor leadership by Corey Higgins to pick out some people that played well. Andy Rose in that first quarter of action looked tremendous, but then got himself into a little bit of foul trouble. And by the time he came back, Mike, he had 12 points at halftime, never really scored again, never really got back into the flow, of course. Casey Jekyll with a good, steady game. Probably the most steady performer that Fond du Lac had here tonight was Casey Jekyll.
Well, he had a real nice game, and Casey performed well for the Fond du Lac last year, came on strong. He and Rose, I thought, last year were somewhat of surprises as the season wore on, and really were heavy contributors, and of course that was the case again tonight. But they have different roles now this year. Last year they were a little bit more fill-in roles. This year they're expected to do that and help carry the load. Drew Diener, another kid that had, I thought, an outstanding game tonight.
What do you have, 6 3-pointers, 6 or 7
like
three-pointers
that,
in the basketball game?
But I think the most important thing I saw tonight is that this Cardinal team has an awful lot of depth. They're going to go that 7, 8, 9 down, and I think that Dick Diener is going to use a lot of people through the course of this basketball season. And the important thing is, if they get that foul trouble, they will not really have that great fall off in talent.
Well, what I like as well, Mike, is that they also have a nice inside-outside game. They have some people that can hit the 3 ball from the outside or hit, sometimes maybe we're concentrating a little bit too much on the 3s and on the tray ball. You like to be able to see the kids, of course, also hit the 17, the 16, the 15-foot shots. And maybe we didn't knock down as many of those tonight as we really could have. But we got some good bumping and banging inside. Jekyll played well inside. Moline, I believe his game is going to be there. And, of course, Rose on the inside. You're not looking at just one guy in a Harmson or one guy in a 5E. Now you're looking at 3, a good solid combination of 3 on the inside. That's pretty tough to stop for your opponent defensively.
Well, it really is, because it gives you somewhere to look, so many more options that you can go to. It also creates the ability to have a lot more rest time, to have guys fresh down the end. But an interesting point you made there, Dave, that, they shot a lot of 3s tonight unofficially. I could look it up. Maybe after the break, I'll tell you how many. They were effective shooting 3s tonight. And they did a nice job on the boards and around the glass. But you're right, they did not shoot very few, if any, 17, 16, 15, 14-footers. There was a big area, a big gap in there. Those shots, whether they weren't there or they just didn't look for them tonight. But when you knock it down,
we're either at the 5-foot range or the 20-foot
range, right? But what they did tonight was effective, and that's what counts.
All right, we're going to be back to give you a look at the final statistics and, of course, all the scoring in the basketball game here tonight, right after this on your Fond du Lac Cardinal Basketball Report.
People say, Ross, where's America headed? Near as I can see, to Dean's Dodge. Why, they ask? Simple. A huge selection of the cars and trucks of the year, talking about Dodge. But you're thinking other dealers sell Dodges. Why, Dean's Dodge. 2 words, low overhead. Dean sells for less because he can. Now, there's a city not far from here where dealers have to cut more for their vehicles. But I've got too much class to mention it by name. Oops.
A big 92-43 win, goes 1-0 on the young season. Non-conference win, of course, but we'll have one more non-conference game next